the association will get a chance to address the new members of the department. Just say hi. But we'll wait and write that out, because that's not what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Article 7. Maintenance of standards. We've got nothing on that we see any change.
Think we have anything there?
We do want to have a discussion about Article 8.
Okay.
That's the next one. You have anything for?
Not for 9?
All right, so 9, we don't have anything we want to bring up, but you got us.
We might have one there.
Okay.
We might have one.
So, we don't proceed by that.
Yeah. Maybe.
All right. Article 10. Yes. That's 20. All right, we have something with hearing contract reasons. Article 11, we have something we want to bring up.
Okay.
What are you? 12, we're good. Article 13, we may want to have a discussion.
Yeah, we might as well.
Huh?
We might have something there too.
Alrighty. Promotions. We both sides, I believe, have.
Mm-hmm.
15, we're good. We're good. 17, 17, we're also good. We do have some things we'd like to discuss in Article 18.
I think the city might as well. I think the city might as well.
That's good. And, no, not.
Yeah, that's gonna be where we'll spend most of the time, right?
Yeah. I think we're gonna have something bring up on 20,
Us as well.
I assumed. Oh. We don't really have any.
City might, right now.
Right, okay. Reemployment. Yeah.
The numbers, it's numbered wrong, so this will fix that too. Run the whole contract, through the spell check and everything, so then we have some minor ones.
So there are changes on 22?
Okay.
Oh, what?
No, not from,
changes.
not from
Okay,
us.
got it.
Do you all?
We do.
Okay.
Okay.
Three is just closing statements.
No changes.
All right, and just under 30 minutes, we've
Cleared up a
cleared
majority.
up 92.5% contract. He said other 8.75.
Where we always end up working.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. always end up working. Okay, so Article 3 is the first
Article
one.
3.
Talk to us.
Article 3 is the Association of Rights, Recognition of Rights.
So on Article 3, what we're trying to do is add a section where it gathers some time to have an association poll. Since we've been having more discussions over people being terminated or any kind of reprimands, the board tends to work, with chief and work with the city to, work during those times, but there's no, how do you explain it? Like no real time being spent, like we either put PTO or we don't put PTO. So we're trying to do where it's an association pool, which is retrieved from the members into a pool into the city, so the board members can use that, or the panel board can use that.
It's a
Kind-
PTO pool?
Yeah, kinda like what the way the county does it is they automatically withdraw certain number of hours from their individual PTO, and it creates an association leave, like a pool,
That people can draw from.
so they can use it for association.
Well, the way they're, the way they're normally set up, what happens is the president of the association, if he needs some people, like, if he wants to give some of his, members, like when they do the hot dogs for the kids in the summer, and he wants to get 3 or 4 guys that are coming or off duty time, well, or coming on their own duty time, you can use the association business leave to reimburse the city, so it's actually the association that's paying for them to be off instead of the city doing association business. And they're normally set up where they're, like the chief said, there's a, depending on whatever formula's worked out, every January, every member of the union or the association gives that time to the bank or the pool. Now, they can opt out by going and filling out a form and telling payroll, I do not want to give up my time. And they opt out. And, what it does, it affords, because being an association president
Takes
is
time.
it takes time, and it's not, it's a thankless job. I mean, you're gonna make somebody upset with you, and I mean, how long was Jess the president? Look how old he looks now, and he's 10 years younger than me, damn near killed him. Cause you're just burning up your own time and taking it away from your family. So this helps a little bit on at least spreading the load to everybody in the association, if they choose. And, we can write it however you want, but normally they have to give 48-hour notice to the chief, and the chief gets the final decision over whether or not it's an appropriate use of the time.
My question is, can they opt in and opt out as wanted?
They can opt in. First off, very seldom do anybody opt out, because it takes effort on your part. You have to go to payroll and fill out your name on a piece of paper. And we're not talking about maybe 4 or 5 hours a year, which is not, in the overall scheme of things, a whole lot of time.
Just so it doesn't give a headache to
That's
payroll.
it.
Because if they're
So if it's like, if there's like a,
constantly,
one time a year that, if
Yes.
they can make it, so it's just one
Yeah,
time a year that.
one
it
time a
happens.
year, you take the money out, or the time
The
out.
time,
The time, and one time a year they can opt out.
okay. And then, does it ever happen that the pool runs out in the year, and then what happens?
Well, then there ain't none.
There's none to do.
And
nothing
that's
to
why
do but
it's
there.
up to the association and the association president, and the chief to have a discussion over, first off, how much do they think they're gonna need? And then secondly, to manage it so they don't run out. Cause what we'd like to see is it build up over time where,
It carries forward, you wanna carry
yes,
forward too,
yes,
okay.
where it can carry forward, and then they've got it in the books.
Who authorizes the use of the
Well,
It would be-
he requests, so he's authorizing it first, and then the chief has to sign off on
And the standard is that it's association business,
it. Yes.
okay. So it's more than just, the bargaining and discipline,
Yes.
it could be even
Correct.
like
It
social
could be
things that,
Yes.
yes,
something
okay.
it's something together, because the association and the police department do everything together.
Okay, do y'all have some suggested language you wanna
I
propose?
will email you some suggested
Okay.
language, because, you know, a lot of the places that have this, like, San Antonio has 7 people on full-time release because of this. Austin's got 4. El Paso's got,
6.
I don't know, I didn't think they had 6, I think they got like, on full-time, I think they have 2, and maybe a couple more part-time.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same for the county.
Yeah, county's got 2.
So that could result in like somebody, that's all they're doing is association business?
Eventually, but in order to get there, you are gonna need right at 1,000 officers for it to get there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
no, it-
We,
yeah.
we would be pulling people off.
No,
off duty to do, okay.
Because, see, when I was on release time from Austin, when I was the president of CLEAT, but CLEAT reimbursed Austin my entire salary and the roll-up cost.
Mhm.
And then they promoted someone, cause I was sergeant, into my position, and that's where they were. And then if I ever went back, then they would, you know, they would be able to figure that out. But what we're trying to do is be good stewards of our associations and also the community. And so there's certain things that we're paying for, not the taxpayers.
Yeah, if you send us some, and it sounds like the chief is like, okay with entertaining the notion anyway, right? Yeah, so send us some language and
I
we'll
will,
look at it.
I will.
Yeah, our object is gonna be, as LV already said, like to make sure it doesn't create
Yes.
a big burden for the payroll people to keep track of it. So to the degree that you can make it, it happens, there's a window of opportunity and then it closes, and
Mhm.
once the time is in there, it's in there. And just whatever we can do to make it easy
Yes.
to administer.
Alright, on my list, and if I'm mistaken, let me know. Next, I think we were good on 4, 5,
Get to 6.
and get to 6. And I will turn this over to Abel.
For Article 6, management duties up to the association, right? So what we're trying to do is get whatever new hire comes in, entered into CLEAT and to the association, or whatever he wants, but we wanna be able to meet with him, during his new hire orientation. The reason is because, a lot of them tend not to go through the association, and we end up finding, oh, he's not covered under CLEAT or covered under the association until weeks later.
How much time are you?
But just maybe 10-15 minutes, it's not long, just a quick discussion of what he can obtain over the association.
It's a membership discussion.
Yeah.
And are those 10-15 minutes gonna be, if we decide to go with the association people, they're gonna be subtracted from there?
Correct.
Okay, send it to us, send us.
Well, I think you could almost send it to him now, cause that one's short. Eight. Internal affairs investigations.
bring us a whole book now.
A whole lot, a whole book full of
It's
language.
like, well, you thought the compensation was gonna be bad.
So currently in Article 8, we have a few words that we would like to change, which is on Section 3, which is conducting association business on parts. This is the department to the chief or assistant chief, right?
That's Article 3.
Is it?
We're in
Article 8, also. On Section 1, number 1. So it should be read the chief of police or the assistant chief of police, if so designation shall cause an investigation to conduct on all written complaints unless the complaint is determined to be unfounded. So on that, we would like to say where it's the assistant chief or an appointed person by the assistant chief, right? Cause right now we have lieutenants that are handling the internal investigations. And then the interviews conducted by the department, it should be read as chief or assistant chief on number 3.
Or the designee, right, the chief,
Correct.
assistant chief, or designee. So you're saying a current practice is already, somebody below the level of assistant chief is already doing it, so just to
Yeah.
acknowledge that in the agreement, okay? Is that correct, chief? You may-
Yes.
Okay,
And then we would like to add some wording, where it announces, the rights of an officer of guarantee warnings. And we would do that in appendix for, on the end for an appendix with the guarantee warning so the officers can read and then have it presented whenever.
okay, you'll tell us what language you want.
If you like, we could work on a form to go in the appendix that would have the guarantee warning, the name of the officer, the name of the people giving the interview, and the allegations. And that way, you could just have it and you'd have it in your paperwork.
And then also add a section for, I'm just gonna read it off. Disciplinary action in non-criminal matters must be taken against an officer within 60 calendar days following the occurrence of the incident. Disciplinary action in criminal-related matters must be taken against an officer within 1 year of occurrence of the incident or 60 calendar days of discovery of the incident, whichever is later. And then I guess on this one, we were talking to SO, sometimes, it takes 3 years or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like,
result.
oh, there's no point anymore to doing the full investigation. Or I'm not sure.
Well, on the criminal ones.
On the criminal, yes.
Yeah, it would take that long it might take that long to resolve them, so I think you need to leave us opportunity, because if you're getting the benefit of waiting to see what the outcome is of the criminal matter, so it might be a time limit after the resolution of the if it's, dismissed or, you know. So I think we need to come up with a way to acknowledge that that's, you know, pending and out of our control, what's going on in the criminal system, judicial system.
So you want clarification language?
No, they want a time limit after, but like almost like a statute of limitations kind of thing on So we'll know about it, so when you say within a year or 60 days of us having knowledge of the criminal proceeding,
That's
and
when
it may
starts.
not be, I think you won't like that, because they're gonna say, you guys are, we need to terminate you, or whatever, because of this.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna force us to make a decision before the final resolution of the criminal matter. So I get that you want closure, but I think you need to, especially, I think with the non-criminal things, yeah, we can agree that they shouldn't, well, we all agree, they shouldn't linger. I mean, but, yeah, send it to us and let us kind of massage that,
Okay.
because I think that's my gut reaction to that is like, okay, that's not gonna be enough time to deal with some of the criminal things that take a long time to resolve.
Okay.
And I don't know if 60 days for the non-criminal ones depends on how involved an investigation is. So, yeah, let us have a look at that.
Yeah, that 60 days seems a little
But it may well be that we have a time limit to begin the you know what I mean? So that you all will know that we're working on it, and then something with closure. I get it, because I'm of the same mind. These things need to be taken care of quickly, and things get cold anyway, and you need to, if you're gonna discipline, you need to discipline, and get it over with. Yeah, but let's have a look at it, and then we'll probably be able to come up with something we can all agree on.
And then under the same article, we would add another section 5 to where an officer can appeal any suspended days, 1, 2, or 3 days. Right now we have it to where they're not able to appeal.
Are they not able to appeal any suspension? Yeah, they are, aren't they?
They are until
But-
the 5th day.
Okay. So you want any suspension? That's gonna be pretty difficult to do. That's gonna take a lot of everybody's time to deal with.
Yeah, right now it's anything over 5 days.
5 days. Okay, we'll take that back and talk about it, but just so you'll know, our initial reaction is that's gonna make a lot of work for all of us. Juice.
That's what I have for that.
Y'all had something on that.
You know what, I think it's actually in another section that with regard to, I don't think we had anything on internal investigations, did we? No.
Okay.
I think I said we might, and then it's not,
Okay.
it's somewhere else. Belongs more somewhere else.
Article 10, we had something, which is contract variances. Back up that way.
Wait, didn't y'all have some, at 56 already?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all the way to 10? Yeah. You had something where you said you needed some discussion in Article 8?
And we just did that one.
Okay. Okay, so we're at 10, sorry, I lost track.
Which chart?
10, the contract variances?
City had something on 9, but they, no,
No,
on 10 we agreed, I'm sorry,
okay.
I didn't, can't read my own writing. But, made it a little
11?
bit exciting.
So no changes on 10?
No.
No.
On 11, we had the safety and equipment.
Yes.
You all didn't have anything? Or you do?
We did.
Oh, I thought so, yeah. I'm sorry.
So on Article 11, just changing the words of how the uniforms are issued to the officers. Right now, it's where it's either damaged and they need to turn in their uniform to get a new uniform. That's kind of taking a while, so they want to do it to where they can buy it at anywhere and then turn in the receipts. And if it's obligated or if it's recommended to turn in a uniform, they can turn it in. But right now, it's like we need to buy it now.
So you would like the option for officers to go right there and then anywhere?
Yeah,
And then turn in
usually
a
it's
receipt?
Bazaar. Usually, what they're able to do is go to Bazaar, order it right there and then. But right now, we're putting, I guess there's a new different way to do it, to where it's implemented, where you need to write an email to your supervisor. Supervisor needs to email the lieutenant, then the lieutenant has to get it approved through the chief. So it's taking time for these officers to get their new uniforms or whatever they need to do. So that's the whole problem.
So you would just like to reduce the time in which they are issued?
Correct. How long does it take? Some of them told me that sometimes it doesn't even get approved, so sometimes they're just buying it themselves out of their own pocket, cause they're hating to wait.
And the city already has a $400 limit a year on equipment replacement, whether it be through y'all or through them doing it themselves.
And they're not trying to change the balance or anything like that, it's just that it's being a headache for them to be able to spend that money.
So you just wanna streamline the process, is what you're saying?
No, they just wanna be able to just go get them and then turn in receipts afterwards, and if they haven't hit their 400.
Well, the only objection I would have to that is that you need a PO to make any purchase. You're bypassing our procedures on purchase orders, which is how we manage our, purchasing. So if you just go out and buy it, you're just turning in receipts and
There's no
and then you're
control
subject
over
to
it.
taxes and, you know.
Yeah, so right now it says it's what, they can't, they're not, shall be allowed to, without, they cannot, at no time shall any employee be allowed to purchase equipment without the permission of the chief of police or his designee. So that's the part that you're having issue with.
Time delay on.
Yeah, and so there's a time delay, and from our side, we need you to get a purchase order. So can we, let's just make note of that and see if we can find a way to streamline the process.
Yeah, the other issue is just officers are just going and getting things without a purchase order and without letting anybody know. So that's the whole reason why we kind of said, you need a memo, and you need to take that memo to Bazaar, which is already approved, has already a PO, or requisition, on file. And that way there's no question as far as if they're exceeding the $400.
Right.
You know, and it's normally, a wear and tear thing.
Yeah, yeah. So we just need to figure out a way to make it go a little faster for you all to get the approval process.
I mean, how about going through calls like we had initially, remember? Making those accounts and just getting approved for each officer. And that way they can order whatever they want through golf, because there's already an open PO, but it's under every officer's name. And if you hit those 400, then you hit those 400, that's it. You're gonna have to either buy it out of pocket or wait till the next year.
Quite honestly, you already have in contract $800 for non-uniform people that go out and, if approved, get reimbursed for their purchases up to $800 a year.
Do we have
Yes.
that?
Objectives.
It's in, section 2.
Cause their stuff is not subject to the purchase order, right? I mean, they go buy suits and different things that are not, so we've gotta figure out way to make it work within our procurement process.
What's this stops me from buying all my uniforms and then quitting tomorrow? Nothing.
Well, I would assume nothing.
Yeah.
But then I would ask why you would wanna buy them if you're quitting. Unless you're starting a Halloween store.
Yeah, just, they get a job from City Hall Council or something, curiosity, if there's anything that reimburses the city or, I don't know, just maybe quit immediately or.
Well, even just going to ask them for permission, they're not gonna know that if the person's
Yeah.
getting ready to
Right.
quit.
Yeah.
I think it sounds to me, and I may be wrong, but it sounds to me that this is really more for the procurement process, so.
Make it faster.
Yeah, so let us think about, and let the chief investigate what might be the delay too. Cause this might be something we can just fix operationally.
Yep.
By an assignment to someone, or bypassing part of it, but we still need to get the purchase order in place. Okay, this one, we'll work on it.
Then, that's it.
On 13, we told you that we may have, so with regard to the off-duty employment, I think, Chief, you wanna talk about that a little
Sure.
bit?
So the off-duty employment, we wanna make it clear that it's a right, it's not a privilege. And it's unfortunate that, I think some of our staff members view it that way, as it's my right to work, these part-times, and for them to work part-times according to our policy, they have to be in good standing. And obviously, when they get disciplined, they're not in good standing. So we would like to add some language to that, to specify that it, you know, that in order to work these part-times, they have to be in good standing with the department.
So we'll send you something to look at with regard to that.
Yeah, it's something, it's just that, I guess a lot of people don't wanna use it as a disciplinary action. And that's what we wanted to discuss too, not to use it as a disciplinary action, but use it as in, you're not in good standing, then we're gonna wait a period of time until you're allowed to work an off duty as well, but not as a disciplinary action. Meaning as if you're suspended, 3 days, 4 days, then, alright, it's not used as just disciplinary action. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but.
So that the chief wouldn't say to you, well, okay, because you're being disciplined, you can't work.
Correct, but it would be more used as a performance. Your performance is lacking, we can take away this off duty until your performance is better, and then as a discipline.
Well, that sounds like
The same
discipline to
thing.
me. I feel like, yeah.
And I would have to see, cause I do not have a copy of your department policy on the overtime, or on the extra jobs.
Yes, so the directive is, it's been in place for a while, but we just kind of expanded, the duration of when they would not be allowed to work part-times, and that would depend on the length of suspension, or if it was a reprimand, you know, and off the top of my head, because we did change it, I know it's a certain period, but we're not allowing you to work part-times because you have a little reprimand, but if you have a 5-day suspension, we won't allow you to work part-times during that period. However, we do allow them to work grads. So that's where the balance, that's where we try to balance it out.
So if, I totally understand, if you get a 5-day suspension, on those 5 days, you are not going to be working extra jobs.
Correct.
Just for those 5 days, or?
No, for a period, and I don't remember the exact period of time. Because it has been quite some time.
And there is some wordings that we would like to add in, which reads, regular full-time members of classified services shall be permitted to work part-time for other employers subject to the provisions of this policy. Full-time employees must recognize that their primary duties are to the city of Horizon. Accordingly, employees may be permitted to engage in outside employment with the prior written approval of the chief or assistant chief of police. The Horizon City employees are subject to call at any time for emergencies. Special assignments, overtime, and the obligations of outside employment are always subordinate to the needs of the city.
Yeah, and I think what the chief is saying that he wants, cause it almost, when you first started reading it, almost sounds like everybody can do it. And they're entitled to it. And the chief wants it to say, no, it's gonna be, it's a privilege. Not everyone may necessarily get it approved. We're gonna be looking at their performance on job, et cetera, before you are gonna be allowed. So we recognize that almost everybody has a side hustle. And that makes